No one else can do it for us. No Messiah can come down and tell us how to be a spiritual person in this world. You cannot read a book and just become that self that's connected to your spiritual self. It's something that needs to be practiced, and it can only be done by each of us. So Saturn in Aries is going to be a part where we dismantle what the structures that have been put around us, put around how to behave as a self in this world. And it's going to be a unique journey and experience for each of us. I'm going to get into some description about Saturn in Aries and then give you the sign by sign to talk about where this is going to show up in your life and how this could be of advantage to you. Do check your sun, moon, and rising and combine all three to get a better sense of what this really means in your life. And if you just know your sun sign, that is still going to give you a good snapshot of what's to come. On May 24th of 2025, Saturn is going to join Neptune in Aries. Saturn is a planet that can get a bad rep because Saturn likes to constrict and refine. I think of the image of the diamond in the rough. It takes a lot of pressure and a lot of slow compression to create a diamond. Saturn is here to make sure that we do a really good job at whatever it is that we're working at. Aries represents the beginning of the zodiac. It is the infancy of something. It is ruled by Mars. So it is fiery. It is excited. It is that gusto and motivation that we need to get things done. It is a toddler type energy. When toddlers are new to the world and curious about everything, and they are just ready to go without a lot of awareness of the consequence. Saturn is like the grandfather coming in to be stern and show us what the consequences could look like. But it really is going to help us learn and achieve whatever it is we're working on in the Aries part of our life all that much better. I especially love that Saturn and Neptune are getting welcome sextiles with Uranus and Pluto, dissolving of Neptune, or the strictness, the restriction and the strict disciplinary methods that Saturn brings to the table, the forceful transformation that Pluto brings to the table, and Uranus, the unexpected punch that it packs. When these four are in sextile and trine to each other, they are working in easy combinations to support us. What's important here is that we are talking about the slower moving planets as the big picture. It's a story that is going on behind the details of our lives, and those are usually played out by the quicker moving planets. With Neptune and Saturn now in Aries, Neptune is about spirituality. It is everything that we cannot see in this world. It is the energy behind everything. Putting ideas and energy into material form is what Saturn wants to teach us about right now. We probably do a lot of this without even thinking. We wake up in the morning, we have a certain energy inside of us, a certain vibe that we're feeling in our heart. We might be looking forward to the day or dreading the day. We might have too much to do or not sure what we want to do with the day. But that's where the creation of the day starts. It starts with a feeling. If we wake up in the morning and that sensation and that intention and energy is about creating a positive experience throughout the day, regardless of the situations, there's a far better chance that we are going to do that. But if we wake up not feeling well, not taking full breaths into our body, a sense of heaviness and dread for whatever it is that we have to face, some days are just like that. So I don't want to be overly optimistic about creating a positive day every day of our lives. That's not what I'm getting at, but more that how important we're going to start to shift into the energy within ourselves. And that's Aries. It's the self energy. There's a piece about the Baha'i faith that I have always loved. And that was, I believe it's Bahá'u'lláh, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, is the prophet for the Baha'i faith, and they said that every 2,000 years there is and will always be a new Messiah, a new way of looking at spirituality and energy for what humanity's ready for. And that the mistake we've always made is holding on every 2,000 years to the older prophets and messiahs of those times, that the messages are outdated, they're meant for that time, and we are meant to grow into something new. This is one of those moments. And with Neptune and Saturn in Aries, in sextile to Pluto and Uranus, what it looks like we're coming into this time around is that we could, as humans, we could be ready to look within and to ourselves to create change. Perhaps we no longer need an outside messiah or one person telling us what this world is all about and how to act and how to behave. That now, like toddlers, we're about to lean on ourselves and realize that we are the ones that have the power to create a lot of good in this world, to create change that we want for our own personal lives, to rely less on other people, and as a result, have less to just blame other people, and taking a lot of responsibility for ourselves is Saturn in Aries. We have the power to create small changes every day that hold an energy that really does spread to other people. Even if we don't think it's a big deal, smiling to other people on the street, we don't actually know how much that can change someone's day. But with Aries, we are new. We are new at this, and we are going to have to give ourselves and other people a lot of space and patience to learn new ways of being in this world. And I think Neptune in Aries with the sextile to Pluto is going to show us how we have the capacity to manage our energy in certain ways that helps deal with any fears that come up in ourselves or other people, any paranoias, any obsessions, any obsessive ways of trying to feel better, but realizing that we are chasing something false. And there's going to be that with Neptune and Saturn and Aries, what is an illusion and what is real and grounded with Saturn. Neptune is the illusion. And especially when it comes to ourselves, especially when it comes to how we move forward in the world, how we take action, what works, what doesn't work. That's another piece with Aries, is that it is impulsive, quick, reactionary, but it gets things done, and it starts and it initiates and it moves forward. But it's quick. Thank goodness Saturn is here, because I think without it, we would just be tripping over ourselves with trying to change and trying to be different and trying to implement a bunch of new ideas and maybe meditation and energy approaches and manifestation techniques and all of these things. But what does that really mean when you take away all of the words? What does it mean to actually feel and embody some of these spiritual things that have been coming at us for quite some time? Wherever Saturn shows up is also where we are going to be looking at old structures and looking to dissolve with Neptune and create something new. So that applies to self as well. Where is it that we have just identified with the way that we were raised, the people that told us how to be and how to act, and the ones that we mimic as well, without even thinking what really matters to us? Mimicking is so easy to do. That is what AI is doing for us now. One of the things that sets us apart from AI is that we don't mimic, or we don't have to default to that. What is always going to set us apart from AI is our creativity, our ability to truly integrate something in a way that we really get and embody the meaning of something, and then we can apply these truths to new things and move forward. To choose something that is one step above fact and what has already been proven is going to be more and more important. So the days of mimicking and thinking that that is funny or cool or being like other people is the way to get forward and merge in community, the Pluto and Aquarius part again, where we're transforming that merging means finding our unique creative self and not being a cookie cutter representation from others. So Saturn in Aries is going to be a part where we dismantle what the structures that have been put around us, put around how to behave as a self in this world. And it's by working through that we are going to create something that is more uniquely us and creative and a connection to our spiritual self, which is the Neptune piece. And it's going to be a unique journey and experience for each of us. Books and videos, they definitely can lead us in the direction of self-discovery. But I think we're moving towards a time in the world where what's most important is getting really aligned with ourselves and on a journey that is unique, not just the format that has been handed down for generations and generations. We might start with that. That might start the foundation. Any healing technique that I've ever come across, and I have gone on journeys with so many of those, it's not I mean, there are so many different types of nutrition, and it really depends on each person's body. I like astrology for nutrition as well, because we can look at each person's breakdown of elements, of how much water, how much fire, how much air, and how much earth is one person made up of, and start from there. But there's so much more dynamic layers to each of us that one healing program or one educational program or one way of doing relationships or one way of anything that's been passed down is just not going to cut it moving forward. I'm really excited for the potential of change. And I'm just so thrilled to be going on this journey with you. Thank you so much for being here with me, watching this video, joining me for one-on-one Zoom readings, and hitting the like button and the bell button. Definitely the subscribes. I appreciate all of it so much. I have a 2025 transit playlist that I will link below, as well as a Neptune in Aries video with Ari MOSHE WOLFE. Now let's get into your sign. Hi, Scorpio. Saturn is moving into your 6th house to join Neptune in Aries. This is all about work. This is your routines, your health habits, your daily habits. This is a wonderful place to have this transit. This means that you're probably infusing more spiritual, energetic momentum into everything that you do. That example of waking up in the morning and setting the tone just right is going to apply to you more than other signs. This is a house where you do a lot of work to get what you need out of life. This is knowing that there is a step-by-step process behind everything that you do, and it's fueled by energy. And you're going to probably face experiences with work and with health. And employees are also covered in this house. So you could face experiences with all of these topics that make you realize that your day is that much more efficient when it's fueled with the right energy, that taking time to align your energy, meditate, really connect with yourself is going to help your health, for one, but it's going to help the connections you have with other people that you're getting work done with. It's going to just help you get more work done. You could be changing the type of work that you do, in that you're applying more discipline to intuition, to your connection to all things, and knowing that whatever it is that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, it has a trickle-down effect. It's not just that one thing, that one day, that one moment. It's that everything that you do is going to impact other people. It's going to impact your own future. And if these habits are healthy, it's really going to pay off. If these habits involve dissociation and turning a blind eye, being disconnected from the repercussions of your actions, then you're going to have experiences that show you that there's a better way. And you're going to feel ready for them. That's the thing with these forecasts and these planets, is that nothing's being forced on you. It's that the situations end up in the right conditions at the right time for you, where you're ready to look at things differently, or you're ready to implement something new. You have Aries in the 6th house, so you are probably most likely, everyone's chart's going to be different. But overall, having Aries in the 6th house means that you are ready to take action and get things done. And you generally, if Mars is in a good position that month, you feel energized about your health and ready to set things in motion. Aries in the 6th house is not a lazy energy. It is a go-getter one. And Mars would be the planet that you look at for that, for what's going on in your 6th house of work and health and productivity and service to the world. So Saturn could be wanting some discipline, and restructuring there as well. Is what you're doing on a day-to-day basis of service to you and to others? And if it is, where's the benefit? What is the intention? Neptune is a planet of intention. And I really think Saturn's journey with Neptune from now well into next year, they will retrograde at the end of the year back into Pisces. And then in February, they will move back into Aries and continue on a much longer journey. But Neptune wants to know that the intention behind everything we do is for the greater good, with Pluto in Aquarius and the sextile that's going to be going on between the two. It's a recalibration of the energy behind what you're putting into your work and your daily activities. You'll want to pay extra attention to your intention and think about what has been passed down to you as far as work ethic and health beliefs that you would like to continue to keep in your life, or that have maybe expired due to the times and the season, and it's time to pick something new. I love the quote that wisdom and evolution are the action of us choosing something different than what we inherited or innately were brought into. That we're not just mimicking those around us, but we are consciously looking at what we really believe is the right course of action. And we're choosing to step in alignment with what matters to us and our values. This is going to be a great opportunity to have improved health and work. If you have employees or you want people on your team, or you just work with others, there is an opportunity for much better relationships there, and that everyone should be aligned somewhat, or at least in the most functional way, with intention. And if people do not have the same intention and values, that's going to be more apparent during this transit, and you're going to want to make some adjustments there. Exciting times ahead for your work, Aries, and there's more going on with Uranus in your soon to be in your 8th house, Jupiter soon to be in your 9th house, and more about Pluto in Aquarius as well. There is a video that is linked in the 2025 playlist for that. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for being here. Come see me for a Zoom meeting if you feel called to that. I will see you next time. Hi, Sagittarius. This is the 5th house transit for you. So Saturn in the 5th house is here to refine and dismantle, restructure how you have fun. This especially for you is about your authentic expression, your authentic creative joy, being aligned with who you were as a kid. Who were you as a child? What brought you fun? And waking up every day in that childlike essence again. This is a big gift coming your way with Saturn here to show you how you can get back to that, to show you how you can break down some of the systems that have been blocking and preventing you from feeling play again and feeling joy. And it's going to come with a sense of a spiritual, energetic connection with Neptune there. Maybe it's even more intuitive downloads and a sense of being connected to all things that I could see this being very sorcerer or shapeshifter energy for Sagittarius out there, that you're realizing that the world is a playground and you can really have a lot more shift of the energy on a day-to-day basis and create joy and fun and play for yourself and other people more than you have in the past, or more than what was taught to you or passed down to you through your family and the people around you that taught you what it is like to be a person in this world. That there are certain do's and don'ts, and they may have disconnected you from what really is your pure, authentic, energetic expression. And in that connection, you are going to feel more connected to all people. It's not just about self. In the beginning of this transit, we have Jupiter squaring this activity with Saturn and Neptune in Aries. This is going to go on for quite some time too. So Jupiter amplifies and heals, and whatever is being highlighted for each of us, Jupiter is going to make it bigger so that we don't miss what it is that we are wanting to shift or change. The fifth house is also children. So if children are in the picture for you, there could be some shifting of how you discipline children. You could be changing how you raise children completely, and you might certainly be leaning on an intuitive, deeper connection to your child and responding through a different type of discipline that way. Teaching your children about the world and about being self-expressed and self-initiators. And that's going to come from just this energetic sense of knowing them without them having to say anything. As much as this applies to children, if you have them or if they're in your life, this could be even nieces and nephews and just kids that you're around. But we all have an inner child, and this is going to be heavily reliant not on thinking your way through this one, but feeling it with Neptune. Neptune can also bring, especially in the fifth house, true unconditional love. Neptune is unconditional love because it is the connection to all that is at the source, which is love. Before we apply judgment, before we apply fear and need for security and need for work and all of these other complicated, very real human ways of getting around in the world. But the fifth house isn't about those things. The fifth house is about the play. It is about who we are before we learn to be afraid of other people, before we learn to be afraid that we might lose our resources, before we learn to be afraid that we might be rejected. Pluto is in your third house, and it is the sextile between Neptune and Saturn and Pluto that speaks to the communication piece for you, that speaks to the way that you use your mind and your words on a daily basis to connect to the greater good. People of all sorts. It could be neighbors, close relatives that are actually covered in the third house. But when it comes to communication, we use that tool all day, every day. And with children or with our inner selves, that's going to be the trick. And maybe you're creating some new magic there. Maybe you will be developing a language and a word and words and a mindset that connects to that heart space of the fifth house, that connects to an inner child and an inner joy. And yeah, you could be a writer, some of you. You could be writing about it. You could be posting it and about it in media, because you're going to be on, you are Sagittarius, you are a truth seeker, you are a spiritual warrior. A lot of Sag risings and Sag sun people, Sag moon, you're here to have a very spiritual role in the world. And you could be one of the people that is going on this inner investigation process, and you will post about it in media, you will write about it, and you will use mindset and language to pass some of this knowledge along or to help be part of the deeper search, because Sag is also good at that ongoing seeking of knowledge and knowing that the real truth is never done searching. The real truth, there's always another layer. There's always something new to find. There is always more. As long as we have the question, there's more to seek and there's more to understand. And as humans, we are discovering more truths and more newness all the time. It's just the next level of or dimension of perspective. When we have more knowledge, what we originally saw from a certain level was true. But then when we have our perspective from a different level, this is also true. But the eagle eye perspective is much different than the mouse perspective. And that's the journey you are always going to be on, Sagittarius, to a certain degree. Each person's chart is going to be different, but this is a really fun one for you in the house of fun and play and hobbies and creativity. I can see you just really getting into a layer of expression and intuitive art in ways that you haven't tapped into before. And your ability to put this into form and structure with Saturn here, and also debunk any old, outdated rules for what fun and creativity should look like. That's all about to unravel into whatever it is that you want to create for your unique expression. Thank you so much for being here, Sag. It is so much fun chatting astrology with you. And if you would like to carry on this conversation with your personal chart, check out my website link in the description below. For a closing in time, I'm keeping my original cost at $150 Canadian dollars. I want to keep this accessible and affordable for a wide range of people, especially during this time. I think that these transits are wonderful, are a great opportunity to seek out some birth chart knowledge and see what new journeys each person is embarking on. So would love to see you there, but thank you for just being here. And 2025 transit playlists will be linked in the description as well if you want to see more of my YouTube content. I will see you next time. Hi, Capricorn. This is a fourth house transit for you with your ruler, Saturn, conjoining Neptune in your fourth house of home, inner world, family, the place that you were raised, your actual home. This, for you more than other signs, is about dismantling and deconstructing the ways that you have been taught to live, to be in the inner world. You might actually be changing homes. You could be downsizing homes. You could be restructuring your home in some way. Neptune is also an energy of dissolving, and there is an element of dissolving, of restructuring and rebuilding with Saturn. But Aries is an energy where you have motivation and energy and you're charged up to do these renovations, whether it's internal or external. And as much as you have been following your intuitive guidance with Neptune very recently in Aries, Saturn is here to put things to the test in a physical way. What is it do you actually want to choose when it comes to home in your inner world of how you operate in this life? Aries is a part of our chart where we can naturally be ourselves in a lot of ways. So we're tapping into that and realigning with that when it comes to your home and inner world.
I can use ChatGPT to answer that. You can enable ChatGPT on your Mac. I can use ChatGPT to answer that.
No, thank you. We are never alone. There could be an element of wanting to create a fantasy or dissociate or look away from that which is within and what is creating more on the outside. But Saturn joining Neptune is going to restrict some of this fantasy, and it's that restriction of fantasy that is going to help create something that is actually structurally sound. Saturn in your fourth house is a solid foundation. So if you are doing renovations, they are bound to last quite a while, have staying power. It could happen slowly, and you might have to put in the time and put in the work. That's what Saturn does. But it does so in a slow and meticulous way so that you really do trust that foundation, and we have something to really expand from. Jupiter's in your sixth house, squaring Saturn when it first enters into your fourth house of Aries. And that is from work. So this expansion of work, health, daily activities, this Jupiter square in that part of your life can be what really asks you, okay, we're expanding here. We're expanding in work commitments, health commitments. What is it that home is really going to do to support you in that growing part of your life, which is soon to be partnerships? That's going to shift the angle of Jupiter over time. But for now, it really is about work and routine, the day-to-day routines and health actions that get things done. Saturn and Neptune in sextile with Pluto in your second house mean that your values are playing a role. Your values are changing, completely transforming and getting an upheaval with Pluto. And that's affecting your home. This could have to do with possessions because the second house is possessions and assets, and you might be minimizing with Saturn, which is what it tends to do. But this restriction and minimizing is going to get more to the core of what's important. And sometimes it's too much. It's too scattered, Neptune. It's too vast. And it's that vastness that doesn't do us much service in the practical world unless we can get it into this dense physical reality that we live in and have it work for us. And that comes with spiritual intention and creating a dream into reality. You could be working on a dream reality for your inner world or your physical home. When we start to put the pieces together of what the dream reality looks like, well, that dream is a really vast picture that may not make full sense when we try to put it into the bit by bit practical pieces that Saturn is asking us to do. However, this is showing up for you, Capricorn. This is a brand new chapter for home. This is your inner world and your home life. And I look at home life as an expression of our inner world. If you walk into someone's home, you can get a pretty good sense of who they are as long as they're not renting a furnished place. And even then, but a home is an expansion of self. It is the bug shell to our soft, gentle bug core. It is the house of Cancer, which is the crab. It does have the shell of the home for protection. What does your shell look like, Capricorn? Are you expanding a representation that really matters to you? Or are you doing things because you were taught that that's what security means? The fourth house is also a place of where we find security, and that could be changing for you in surprising ways. With Saturn, your plan could slow down, your plan could need refining, but it is working with Neptune to really create something that is going to be a beautiful outcome for you. Let me know how this is going in the comments below, Capricorn. Would love to hear how this is showing up for you. Thank you for being here. And if you would like to chat more about this with a one-on-one reading with me, I will link my website in the description below. And I will see you next time. Hi, Aquarius. This transit is happening in your third house. This is an opportunity for improving communication and maybe even making some language for things that don't exist yet. You have the gift of gab here, but it might take some time with Saturn. You could have situations that show up related to siblings, cousins, close relatives, short distance travel, communication, expression, media, and your thought process. This is how you use your mind on a daily basis to get things done. Neptune here can create some fog in the communication. It can create a disconnect from language, words, media. But very likely for many of you, it's going to have a spiritual flair. There's going to be, you could be drawn to a lot more media and writings that have to do with understanding the unseen realms more. Neptune also rules art, photography, creating videos, creating a dream. And with Saturn here alongside, you could be hard at work creating art projects, especially when it comes to video photography work. You are the one going through Pluto transformation. The sextile from the third house with Neptune and Saturn to your first house with Pluto implies that part of your transformation is going to be your thought process, your expression, your words, the media you take in, and the way that you express that back out in the world. This would be a wonderful time to focus more on understanding energy and the connection of all things, any spiritual direction that you're drawn to, learning any of this video and editing, creation work, photography, other elements of capturing an image, capturing a dream. You could have, with Neptune in the third house, this could be a time where you feel a bit foggier, or you have in the past felt disconnected from your language, maybe even dissociated from the words that you use. This is one of those energies where you could just be mimicking and saying things or doing things or creating art forms that are just a replication of something you have seen without consciously processing what you want to create and what really matters to you. When Saturn comes around, you'll be able to see different areas that can use deconstructing or reconstructing, and probably both. Uranus, now in your fourth house, but soon to be in your fifth house of creative self-expression, is going to be another sextile to this Saturn and Neptune that's going to flare up your creative expression and make it more uniquely you, which is wonderful for an Aquarius. This is what you were born to do anyway. So this is just a transit where you're going to focus more on these things you probably already have been somewhat focused on already. This is just an era where it really amplifies, and looking back, you'll see that this was a time period where your skills got better. You got more connected to what really matters to you. Maybe you even get creative, intuitive, downloaded information that you're really excited about to share with the world. And it's this process that could transform you. It's this process of being more connected with your creative self and the energy behind everything, the intention behind everything, that could start to transform your persona, which is Aquarius in the first house and having Pluto there. It can change how you present yourself out in the world, how you walk in the world, how you connect with other people via communication. These are really important houses, and it has so much to do with creative self-expression overall for you. When Jupiter moves into Cancer on June 9th, this is going to amplify the work and health focus. It's a great opportunity for a whole year with Jupiter in your sixth house starting June 9th for healing and increasing your workload. I'm bringing up Jupiter now because this is also activating in a very strong way with a square Saturn and Neptune. And I think that means that the extra workload is also going to be putting pressure on you to create the right thing, and in a really good way. So I don't mean pressure in a way that you need to worry about by any means. This is all stuff that you're ready for. This is stuff that you've been wanting. Usually when planets come along and create a certain energy for us, it's the time is ripe and we're ready to step into the change that these planets are just supporting us through. So communication, you might have to do more short distance trips. You might change transportation, or you might have to be more serious about transportation and getting around in some way. That's just for a small group of you. For most people, it is the communication piece, your thought process, and potentially your community that is getting restructured. This is a 3-year transit with Saturn restructuring to destabilize the way you've been taught to do things when it comes to thinking and communicating, and maybe even your neighborhood and travel and short distance travel, and rebuild something that is really individual to you, that really fits what you're trying to create, and ultimately is going to amplify your ability to express and create more work for you that is aligned. And I think it's going to help your health too, with Jupiter in this 1-year transit in your 6th house. So work and health do go together in astrology. When we work at our health, it improves. When we are of service to others, our health can improve, when that's in balance, of course. And when we're just have healthy, positive routines. So I'll make a whole other video on that one, but Jupiter is really going to help you love your routines and have your routines support you and work for you all that much more. Enjoy, Aquarius. Let me know how this is going in the comments below. Would love to hear from you there, and I will see you next time. Hi, Pisces. This is the 2nd house transit for you. So this is all about what you value, what you ingest, your possessions, how you expand your resources, your assets, and your energy. How you use your energy, how you conserve it and use it for yourself, or same with resources. Or is it in flow? Is it in healthy flow? Are you giving too much? Are you hoarding too much? This has to do with all things energy related, like possessions, money, food, and energy. So Neptune here is going to create a dissipation. You might notice, as Pisces, you have just had Neptune in your sign and Saturn, and you have gone through this balancing of self already. So you've done it in an energetic sense in some ways already, where you're creating structure for your energy, you're creating boundaries with self and other. And now it's about the energy exchange more. So it's refining new layers of exchange of energy between yourself and another person. But how much money are you spending? How much food are you eating? What kind of food are you eating? Neptune can be dissociative and not wanting to deal with reality. So if there's an element of that in how you're handling your energy and taking care of your body, then that will show up for restructuring. And it's something you're probably already ready to work on with Saturn here. And Saturn is just going to help you with the discipline required. That's what Saturn is so beneficial for. In life, at least in my personal experience, we just play and go full throttle and do what we feel drawn to do. And very likely it is connected to the imprint that we came into this world with, that I typically see in birth charts. We are aligned with that energy, and we just flop about without putting too much conscious thought into it. Until layer by layer, Saturn goes around the wheel every 3 years, each sign. So it takes quite some time to go around the whole wheel. And every time it changes signs, a new area of life gets disciplined. So we start to hone in on certain parts of our life and decide, oh yeah, it's time to just adjust and tweak this part of my life now. And then we do that for 3 years, and then we apply that to another sign. So with Saturn, it's likely by choice, but you will have the circumstances that are going to propel you towards those decisions. Jupiter squaring the entrance of Saturn in Aries with Neptune is coming from your 4th and 5th house. And this Jupiter square is what is first going to amplify whatever it is with Saturn and Neptune in Aries in your 2nd house that you want to change. So you're going to feel something that was already there swell a little bit, and then it'll get your attention, and you'll find ways to manage whatever it is that's showing up. That could involve things to do with home, creative self-expression, play, fun. It's the fifth house is where you just have childlike joy. And home could be a piece of this too, because Jupiter is going to square this conjunction in Aries from both houses. So what is it about home and inner world and childlike fun and creativity and creative self-expression that are influencing your values right now? Are you in alignment with the way you're spending money and energy and time and resources with fun and home? Or is it in those departments that you're noticing there's too much dissipation or there's old structure that you haven't thought about changing in a while and now it's time to create something new? But first, we have to be aware of the old structure and dismantle it. And then we can bring in something new. This will be that transit. And there's going to be so much support between this energy and Pluto in your 12th house, Uranus in your 3rd and 4th house. So even though Pluto and Saturn can be planets that create a lot of change and therefore are uncomfortable, by nature, it is the forced change or the restriction of something that we as humans have decided is an uncomfortable energy, but it is such a beneficial one. They are the very ingredients that create transformation of an area of our life that needed an upgrade, needed something new. Where do your values need a more spiritual flavor? Where can intention and energy in what you value come first and then materialize the action that's required to align with the energetic value? So if you value happiness, do you feel that on the inside? And how much control do you have to create that feeling amidst challenging situations or mediocre situations? If you value saving money or eating healthy food, do you have a positive energetic connection to that? Or does it create this dread of responsibility that you have to face? It doesn't have to be one or the other as far as the extreme of feeling great all the time or not feeling good, but it's the opportunity to have a more neutral or finding an intention that feels good when it comes to creating restriction in our lives. That it's that work hard now and gain more later or play more later energy that we can put some love and appreciation into. So Pisces, whatever it is that you are embarking on as far as change, let the intention and the energy behind it come from a place of what you're going to get out of it, or just the enthusiasm for what discipline and restriction can bring, because we often bring it into our lives at a time where there's going to be benefit for it. It's not just restriction for the sake of restriction. It's restriction for the future. It's restriction for a new plan. It is deconstructing and reconstructing so that we have something new and revolutionary and better to move forward with. So if the process feels grueling, bring in that appreciative energy for what it's going to bring down the road. And that may just make the results happen all that much sooner. We'll see. You let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear what's going on for you. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for liking and watching and hitting the notification bell. If you would like to process more with your personal chart, check out my website link in the description below, and I will see you next time. Hi, Aries. This is your transit. You now have Saturn in your sign, and this is a complete transformation of self. It is going to be deeply transformational, especially with the Pluto sextile coming from your 11th house. There's going to be a connection with you changing and your groups and networks changing, you changing and your connection to society changing. And it could be a mix of both at some times. Pluto in your 11th house could be the motivation to create self-change, in that as you purge and connect with different groups, you're realizing that there needs to be a match, and that comes from you as well. Prior to Saturn coming into your sign, any areas where you feel impulsive or this constant urgency to do things and do things really quickly, but you can't finish it, or you just lose motivation and you want to start something new, or you start watching a video and you get super excited about the next one, and it's that staying power. Saturn brings that lasting power to Aries, which use this next 3 years to really create a strong foundation for anything you want to launch. You can still be in the process of launching something new, but know that this slower time, or this a time where you don't feel so high in the ability to dash around to different things and initiate, and you might feel less fiery in some ways. But there's this slowness that Saturn is creating is going to give you more of the Taurus quality of follow through. You're going to see something through for the next 3 years, and you're going to have that much more creation power when Saturn moves on and Neptune is left in Aries. This could be a highly spiritual time for you. You could feel more foggy, but in that fog, you are connecting to more energy. You're connecting to the source of presence in an energetic form within yourself. And when you do that, you can connect with more others. And when you connect with that energetic source in yourself, you can connect better with others. That's where the presence is that energetic core within. And when we are more grounded and centered in ourselves, or knowledgeable about who we are, then we relate from that place to other people that are doing the same thing. And that creates a very present bonding that can last. And this will have an effect on self and other for you, because Saturn in your first house is going to be opposing your seventh house of partnerships. So it's going to affect both. It's going to have an effect on, as far as that goes, your fourth house and your 10th house too, and other parts of your chart. But the benefit is that you're going to become more in tune in a functional way with what really matters at an energetic level for you. Who are you at an energetic level? Those would be questions that are going to come up, and it would be a great time to take more time to sit with that and see what answers you get. And you might not get them right away. This is a longer 3-year journey. This process could take some time. And if you find that you're in situations that are slowing you down for any given reason, keep this opportunity in mind of being a time where you get to be more clear on self, on what really matters to you, on what you want to initiate, and you really have the discipline support from Saturn to follow that through. In the process, this is going to be deconstructing any old parts of yourself that have been getting in the way of whatever it is you want to create. This can be anything, and it'll be different for many of you. That's where Uranus in your third house is going to, second and third, depending on, Uranus is going to change signs in July, and I'll talk more about that. Uranus in your second house is where your values are affecting this change of self that you're working on. And in your third house, this is more about your thoughts, your words, your mind, your expression. And so you're going to notice through changing expression and words and values that there's more to that, and that there's an energetic shift in self that happens when you choose a value that's different, or when you choose to do something different with your resources, which is the second house, or when you choose to speak differently. You can just choose to do those things differently, but they happen more easily or better if we are really clear with the intention of why we want to change those things, and then we do. But my thoughts and my voice and my tone, those are all second, third house topics. When I am intentionally changing my voice, I don't do it from the voice perspective. I do it from the emotional, energetic perspective. I first drop into the emotion that I'm trying to convey, and then the words just follow. So that's might be a more basic example that doesn't fully apply to everything you go through, but in some way that is going to be what you're facing in different parts of life and with yourself. So energy first, Aries, it's you first. Welcome the slowdown in whatever way this comes about. If you have structural changes of self that are happening, know that this is a 3-year period where the restructuring of self is going to pay off in the end. And it's going to be something that you wanted in the end, but you didn't quite know how to get from A to B. And that's what Saturn's here to show you. Thank you so much for being here and listening and watching. And let me know how this is going for you in the comments below. Would love to see you there. And for you, Aries, if you've been thinking about having a reading with your chart, this is a wonderful time to look at some of the details, and you'll feel when it's right. But a lot of Aries out there are going to be going through big changes over the next 3 years, and looking at from an energetic perspective of your astrology blueprint can be really helpful. And for not too much longer, but a little, I might sometime in June. I haven't selected an actual date, but my rates will be going up. Right now, they are still 150 Canadian because I want to keep it affordable for as many people as possible during some of these big transits that we're going through. And as long as my schedule can hold it, I will. So would love to see you there, and I will see you next time. Hi, Taurus. This is the 12th house transit for you. Saturn in your 12th house. Well, you could be going through some deconstruction of what rest means to you, what spirituality means to you, what dissociation means to you. Neptune is the ruler of the 12th house in classic position. That's where Pisces is. And that represents everything that is disconnected from the physical, practical world. This is a wonderful time to dive more into spiritual practice, to focus more on the energy behind your intentions, to focus more on the energy that you embody, maybe even rest. You might have a period where you have more rest or less rest. Both are pointing to transitions of changing the practical way that you work and get things done and rest. Changing the way that you are of service to others, but what is the energy behind it? Refining intuition. You could be learning more about the subtle energy that you're picking up on and making more sense of it. And you are just finishing Uranus in your sign. So you have had some radical changes to self. This has been a long period of upgrades to your energetic sensitivity. And whether you're putting it into conscious awareness yet or not, these changes could be happening in the subconscious. You could do subconscious work with Saturn in the 12th house. This could be a time where you start to untangle what has been programming you in hidden ways, controlling your behavior without really realizing it, and spending a lot more time building new patterns. When it comes to subconscious patterns, they develop at such a young age that in some ways they're always with us. But there are tools to work with them and habits that are built in the 6th house, which is opposing the 12th house. It's where we build habits that reframe our subconscious over time. You could be looking at how balanced some of your habits are because Libra is your 6th house. And that can have a strong effect on your connection to spirituality, your connection to unseen realms. These beautiful connections with Uranus and Pluto and this conjunction are happening from your 10th house, and soon Uranus will be in your 2nd house. So your values and your public image have some influence here. Your status and your public image are the 10th house. These are the constructs that you have that you put out in the world. And there's a connection between all of these houses that is the momentum for the change that's being created. For you, it looks like more at an energetic level than a lot of signs because of this high 12th house activation. But as a Taurus, you have pretty firm values usually. You're pretty clear on what matters to you. And with Uranus moving into your 2nd house, this could surprise you that they could just, like that, some of the values you thought were most important could crumble and make way for new ones. That's where you want to give yourself lots of rest with this 12th house energy of Saturn and Neptune. And if you have been dissociating too much, or you have not been paying attention to what's going on in reality, but rather your own experience, then this is a time where that could start to shift. And bit by bit, because this is a beautiful sextile triangle, these planets are here to assist us. And sometimes to get our attention, the situations can present slightly uncomfortable or maybe more uncomfortable, but that's life. And in some ways, we get used to it. Pretending it doesn't exist and dissociating, though, doesn't necessarily help life in the big picture and in the long run. It might feel better in the moment to flip a bad situation right away and ignore it or create a good one, or decide that this is not something that needs to directly affect you. If this is about dissociation in the 12th house, then this is a time where there's going to be moments that you just can't look away from. And the goal is not suffering, but the goal is to have a healthy awareness of the blend of everything that happens. Gemini being your second house and Uranus moving into that part of your chart, that's about holding dualities. And so rather than pushing away what's uncomfortable and what we don't want to deal with, there's an opportunity for merging of both. That there can be both uncomfortable, challenging things that happen that we are involved with, and we both can create space for that and happiness and moving on and doing the best we can to move forward. So the 12th house can be lots of things, with dissociation, rest, time away from your day-to-day tasks, intuition, meditation. It can dissolve energy. So if you have been too caught up in Neptunian-like topics, not grounded enough, there can be some dissolving that happens while Neptune is in your 12th house. And really, I think it's going to be a spiritual transformation for a lot of people. We are in a time in the world right now where there is just an opportunity for so much more knowledge and for us to think about things differently. Now that that's been happening for quite some time, the opportunity is to start feeling things differently, to start shifting and attuning our energy and our subconscious to realities that we do want to create, and not just repeating what has always been done, and this mimicking thing that keeps coming up. As far as we don't think about the words that we're using, we don't think deeply about how to express in detail what it is we're trying to convey. We just say what sounds right, what we've heard before, what's been said to us, and flip that. This isn't as much in the communication house for you, but I'm just using that as an example of thinking more deeply about what it is that we really want and want to create, and doing a unique process on the inside for each of us, and especially for you, Taurus, with the 12th house. So let me know how this is going for you. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Thank you so much for just being here, watching, spending your time with me. And if you would like to process more with a personal reading, check out my link in the description below. And for a limited time now, I'm going to be keeping my fees at 150 Canadian. I want to keep them as affordable as possible while my schedule can handle that. But that won't be for too much longer. So jump on that if you haven't already. And I will see you next time. Hi, Gemini. This is an 11th house transit for you. So this is all about your community, your networks, your friends, your feeling of connection in the world. There's going to be a complete remodeling that is, in a bigger picture, going to infuse a bit more Neptunian qualities into your networks and groups. With Neptune in your 11th house for 14 years, this is about how much you connect with all groups in a deep, energetic way versus dissociate, or if you have And this could apply for many different people in different ways. So if you have had a tendency to be more dissociative in your communities and networks, then this is an opportunity to flip and see where that dissociation is fitting or not fitting in your life, and start to connect to the energy behind things and find the oneness and universality in people, even when they're seemingly different on the outside. Saturn's coming in right now. This is going to be 3 years all in all. And this is about firm restructuring. This is about dismantling what was and rebuilding. So when it comes to your friendships, you may find that you are diving deeper into clearing out the fog, figuring out what's really meaningful to you with your networks and groups, and a sense of community. What ingredients do you need to really feel a sense of belonging and functioning within a system? Community on its own is quite flat. When we think about how we actually connect on an energetic level, with Saturn, a practical, tangible level, it's what's functional, what is actually productive and going somewhere with a community. Is it serving a higher purpose when it comes to the 11th house? And because Pluto's transforming your 9th house and Uranus is in your 12th house, and they're in this lovely triangle to Neptune and Saturn in your 11th of community, the 9th with Pluto is about completely transforming your views on the world. And equally, Uranus in the 12th can be radical changes to your connection. It's the Pisces house, it's a Neptune house, it's your connection to all the things. It's that meditation space, sleep space. It is about the energetic connection that keeps us all one. There could be a sense of wanting to hold on to your individuality while in a group, but at the same time wanting to really belong and merge and feel that connection. And throughout this transit, you'll notice waves and fluctuations of connection, illusion, dissociation, and over connection. There can be a seeping of energy in communities. And the purpose behind these fluctuations is going to be to find that perfect middle ground for yourself. And each time there's a fluctuation that's to an uncomfortable point of feeling unclear about where you stand in your connections, or feeling like you don't have community at all, or feeling like you're too immersed with your connections and community and networks and you're losing your sense of self. It's through these waves and ripples that you will continue to question what's important to you, and that's the reconstructing process. But for you, this goes really hand in hand with spiritual seeking higher knowledge. You're at a phase where you're changing your perspectives of the world, and if you're teaching or you have new teachers coming into your life, faraway places, more time to rest or secluded from service and work, these are playing a big role in the big picture. So it looks like spiritual transformation. You are opening up to energy in a different way. And Uranus has been in your 12th, but as Saturn moves into Aries and this transit continues, in July, Uranus will move into your sign. And that is very potent for changes that you are going to go through. For 8 years with Uranus in your sign, you are going to be radically transformed. And it makes sense that at that same time, your communities and networks are going to shift as well. So as much as this is about community for you, Gemini, this is about your heightened sensitivity to the energy in the world and who you are as a person, and in which places does your community, the things that you're working towards in community. So you could even have goals of improving connections within your city, within your country. These could be bigger communities as well with a task. Your purpose could change quite a bit when you have these houses lit up and you're having such strong transformations of self, as your humanitarian causes could shift, because what is ideal to you is shifting in big ways too. So there's a lot activated here, Gemini, but you have already been going through it. And this is just a new layer that your communities are going to start to be in high focus as well. Before it was more about work and career and visibility. And now you want more purpose in, it may still be with career, but you want more purpose in the connections, the matter, doing what really matters with people and having a bigger purpose to it all. Thank you so much for being here, Gemini. Thank you for liking, subscribing, but just being here. Would love to hear what's going on with you in the comments below. And if you would like to join me for a one-on-one Zoom meeting, would love to see you there. I will link that in the description. Have a wonderful Saturn in Aries transit, and I will see you next time. Hi, Cancer. This is a 10th house transit for you. Saturn and Neptune in your 10th house is going to have you seeing things more clearly with the image that you want to represent in the world. You are going to be completely breaking down old ways of being when it comes to leadership and status and career. Capricorn is the classic ruler of the 10th house, and Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. So in a lot of ways, Saturn is really at home in your 10th house with Neptune. It is still on a mission of figuring out which structures you need to operate in the world and serve the function that you are wanting to. In Aries, there can be strong leadership and drive and motivation to be a leader. But with Neptune here for 14 years, you're going to start to, with Neptune here, you could be into spiritual leadership of some kind. And Saturn is going to help you deconstruct leadership in the old ways where there wasn't much room for a spiritual, energetic conversation. So depending on what you do, it's going to be different for each of you. But Neptune is going to encourage that there's more connection to all things from an energetic space when it comes to the structures and the service that you put out in the world. You could notice a lot of topics around which rules lead to success and which rules don't. And maybe some of those old ways of reaching success in life are starting to shift, at least the rules around how to get there. The triangle for you, this magic triangle with Pluto in your 8th house and Uranus in your 11th, soon to be in your 12th. This is a lot of subconscious work. This is psychological transformation, really big life and death rebirthing cycles where things about you at a psychological, energetic level are shifting so profoundly that they're old parts of you that might feel like they're crumbling on an energetic level. That is, from the outside, you will probably look the same to everyone else. But with these big psychological shifts and your ability to tune into energy even more than you already can, because Cancer is quite a psychic energy, but you are really getting amped up with your awareness now. And that is going to bring the element of bringing that into career and success and the structures that you use to build that momentum in the leadership roles that you have in the world, whatever leadership roles those are. If it's not work, it can definitely be other places in life. But there is an element of working towards something, working towards building something. So whatever it is that you're building is going to first, there's going to be some tension with Saturn as far as restricting and slowing down the process potentially. But do know that this is really important for working through the cloudiness that Neptune can bring. There can be a bit of fog when we're shifting things for the first time, especially if we're bringing in a new spiritual, energetic element to things. So it's working through that fog that creates the new structure. It helps you understand where the old structure wasn't working. If you've had tendency to dissociate from your role in the world and the ways that you work towards progress and achievement, then this is a time where Saturn is going to come in and show you the ways that you could improve on that and stay more connected to everything that's unfolding. There might be things happening that are not seen and you're not connecting with right away when you have Uranus in the 12th house and Neptune in the 10th. Unseen energetic shifts that are happening that you might feel, but you don't fully understand. And Saturn is the element that can come along and help you make sense of that. So take time to meditate and take things slow and give yourself a lot of internal processing time. I think that's going to really help during this transit, especially the next 3 years, because it looks like your role in the world is changing in a big way. And not all at once, but again, over the next 3 years, over the next 14 years, the changes that you are going through are going to require rest and processing and potentially spiritual, psychological processes on your part that really help this time. So this is, while Pluto's in your 8th house, this is a very long transit, but over the next 20 years, you might be looking at more occult topics or psychological transformation and working with a therapist and that type of thing. And these days, therapy is changing in lots of different ways. So I'm using that in the broad sense that could include a lot of different support from a lot of different people. But ultimately, there's a layer where you are taking charge of building your service and the work that you do out in the world, your career, whatever it is that you're working towards with leadership and success. You are building a new structure to achieve those things. And Saturn is here to help you out. So take it slow. You will have support from Pluto and Uranus to create the transformation that you're working towards. And this looks really great for really expanding what you're doing out in the world when it comes to career and reputation, potentially. Thank you so much for being here, Cancer. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and chatting with me in the comments. It's so much fun. If you would like to see me for one-on-one Zoom reading, I will link my website in the description below. Would love to see you there. Have a wonderful Saturn in Aries transit, and I will see you next time. Hi, Leo. This is the 9th house transit for you. So this very likely has an emphasis on spiritual expansion for you. The 9th house is about expanding your knowledge, expanding the truth, seeking spiritual wisdom, and just really deepening your understanding of what the meaning of all of this is. There can be a desire to reconstruct the belief systems that you've had in the past. That's what Saturn is here to do. It will deconstruct old spiritual beliefs, and you might have concepts that spirituality is rigid and it means religion and you have to pray every day, and then you are able to see through some of the fog and see that there has been a bit of an illusion of things that are foreign concept and potentially spiritually based for you. This could have to do with how you view foreign people and foreign places and things that are just not familiar, out of your innate comfort zone of what you came here in and the knowledge you came here with from your family or the people that you're surrounded by. So this is an opportunity to explore for yourself, and you're going to have situations show up that make you question the world a little more, make you question the beliefs that you have been holding on to, and realizing that some of them are not supporting your ultimate expansion and connection to all things. That if you want to feel connected in this world and that there's higher meaning, this is a time where teachers could show up that help you in this process. They help slow down maybe the trajectory you're already on with spiritual undertaking of some kind. And the teacher comes along and shows you where there is illusion or where things are not quite clear or not quite applicable. in practical reality. Because that is the thing with a lot of spiritual practice, is that, is it really practical and does it really make sense in our modern world today? Does it make sense on an individual level? Because that's Aries for you in the ninth house. You are going to want to be at the core of it all, an individual who can express and start things that are new and not be held and constrained into one process or ideal. Pluto in your seventh house. Uranus is in your 10th, moving into your 11th. So this is other people. The seventh house with Pluto is partnerships and other people. Uranus, soon to be in your 11th in July, is networks and friends. These are going to help you build new beliefs and new mindsets and new ideas of how the world works. So this is not coming on your own, even though with Aries in the ninth house, you're going to want to always reconnect with what feels right for you and what feels right for your unique personality and on the inside. But you're going to have significant karmic relationships in your life that show you the way, that highlight transformation for how you are with other people and how you are in your community and connections. But this is going to take shifting your belief systems about how the world works and what connections should be like. Your networks and significant partnerships could drastically change as a result of your beliefs and spirituality on embarking on new change. This is a wonderful opportunity to pick up topics of interest that you're interested in. This could have to do with foreign places and going to a foreign country for the sake of learning something new, for the sake of expanding your mind and your perception of the world. You let me know how this is going for you, Leo. Would love to hear from you in the comments below. And if you feel called to a one-on-one Zoom reading, I will link that in the description below. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Hi, Virgo. This Saturn in Aries is happening in your 8th house. So this is all about resources, significant partners' resources, merging resources. This is also psychological transformation, reversals, any way that you have been operating in a psychological, subconscious way without questioning your motives and your actions and your choices, that can get explored. This is a 3-year chunk of time where you could start breaking down your energetic makeup, and how you merge with others is what the essence of the recipes that you're looking for are. So if you merge with others in a way that is innate and automatic, like your parents, like your siblings, like your friends, or are you being really authentic to you? And this is a time where you can restart yet another way of being and bonding and connecting and merging with others. Neptune can be a way of either blending and dissipating into that intimate bond, or dissipating resources as well, or disconnecting altogether, creating a blind spot to your psychological operating patterns. This is the house of birth and death and rebirth, so big life transformations overall. And with Neptune here, there could be an element of adding a spiritual layer to that. This could be a 14-year period where you feel more deeply connected to spiritual expansion, and you feel more committed to doing whatever work is necessary to break down the old and create something new that is applicable for wherever you are at right now in your life. This could have a lot to do with work and service and reputation out in the world, career. Pluto is transforming your 6th house of health and service and the day-to-day work routines that you do, health and just daily stuff. These are our habits. Really good connection between 6th and 8th house for you, where your transformation of habits is transforming you at an energetic, psychological level as well. Uranus is about to move into your 10th house, where reputation and the work that you do out in the world and the way that you are seen for your leadership and progress that you've made and the things that you put in place to achieve what you want to achieve. You're going to have revolutionary new processes and ideas there with Uranus in the 10th. And I will make a whole other video about that. But it seems very connected to what you're going through with 8th house transformations. So you might feel more fog and disconnect when it comes to subconscious work as you start to open up that with yourself or with another person, or maybe you're sharing resources in ways that are new and different. And at first, all of this is going to feel really intangible, and there can be a hard to pin down layer to it. But Saturn is here to slowly help unfold all of those 8th house topics. So be patient if it feels like merging and intimacy and bonding is showing you all of these new layers that are making it actually harder to connect than you thought it would. That's the whole point, that when it's more challenging to do when it comes to Saturn, we actually do the work slowly, diligently, and it gets done. It gets done thoroughly. In the past, you could have constantly gone through these cycles of restarting and pushing forward in a Aries way and being like, I have the new transformation, I have this new key, I have this new merged shared resource and asset that I'm going to work towards. But then it just shot off really fast and strong and failed. Or not failed, but just didn't follow through. So that tendency to build really quickly when it comes to shared lives, shared merging of intimacy, of resources, of all those bonding things we do with other people. And this could be romantic relationships, or this could be business partnerships, this could be friendships. But you're now seeing that slowing that process down is what's going to create longevity. It's going to create more trust in the merging. It's going to create more balance and understanding of how finances merged can work. Sometimes just too much too quickly doesn't have the lasting power that Saturn is here to bring to that very financial part of your house, but very financial that Saturn is going to bring to that very financial part of your life. But this also has to do with energy and bonding with other people, how you share your energy. And if you are someone who feels disconnected, then you're going to be focusing more on how to make that work for you, or how to shift that disconnect into more merging and oneness and energetic connection to all things, really, but then to apply that into your deepest bonds. I would love to hear how this is going for you, Virgo. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. And if you would like to join me for a Zoom reading, I will leave a link for that in the description as well. I would love to see you there. But for now, thank you for just being here and hanging out with this video. And I will see you next time. Hi, Libra. This is a time for maturation in relationships. Saturn in the 7th house is going to show you all of the qualities that you are going to want to shift and reconstruct when it comes to self and other. Old ways of being in relationships are going to change, and you're going to have the motivation and the situations to create a slowing down that's going to have your most important bonds last the test of time. Aries in your 7th house as a Libra can make you very impulsive and excited to bond with another, to have new people in your life, to merge important contracts, and to have the security of a bond in another person. But there could be a chance for many of you that those were people that would come into your life for a short period of time and not necessarily long-term relationships. Again, this could be any type of relationship. And there is a lot of value in that because sometimes we need different people from different walks of life and all sorts of different experiences to really build an understanding of what we want in relationships. But it looks like you are there now in one way or another. And as always, depending on your personal chart, this could show up differently for each person with your personal placements. But this is a general for all Libras. So in general, there's going to be a layer where slowing down, working on commitment and long-term bonds is going to be your focus. And there is likely going to be a spiritual element of all-encompassing energy. You want that merging and oneness with another. Or if you have had tendencies to dissociate, even subconsciously, this is a time where you're going to be focusing on the opposite, that there's a dissociation and an element of that to all of us. I think they come in as automatic protective mechanisms. This is a time where you could be seeing those more clearly. You could be seeing the automatic ways that you disconnect from uncomfortable feelings when it comes to experiences you've had in the past where other people have let you down. And this could even be in past life situations. Whether you are someone who likes to think or talk about past lives or not, we come into this world with innate qualities that I see in charts. And it's an imprint of an experience that it's like we already have it in our soul. And for a while, it repeats and it recycles until we have enough consciousness or awareness of a certain thing that we start to shift it and expand it with our actions and our minds and our beliefs. You have Pluto in your fifth house of fun and deep transformation with what really brings you joy and what really helps you feel in your element of who you are as a person. And Uranus in your eighth, about to be in your ninth of your beliefs about the world, your ideals and your mindset and the knowledge you gain about the ways that the world works in a spiritual capacity. So there is an activation of more focus on the meaning of all things, the bigger picture. And at the same time, how does that apply to what it means to be authentic and have fun? And what does it mean to be truly connected to another person in a functional, practical way? I think a lot of Libra people are going to be putting things in place with partnerships that make a partnership work favorably. Because partnerships can just be there, or they could be something that drains us energetically. They could be something we get energy from, or they could be functional. They could have a purpose. They can be something that we're working towards with another person. That's that Saturn element in your seventh house. So there's going to be more of a goal that you're working towards with someone. It's through that, whether whoever that is in your life, that you are going to be learning more about how to infuse more Neptunian topics into these partnerships. When we lead with knowing that we are all connected at some source of love and unconditional love, it's a different expression in the material, practical world than when we just think about the practical, physical, how does this benefit me today type of energy. I think there's more compassion, more forgiveness, and more space for unconditional love amidst the chores that we do when we're in committed partnerships, whether that's work or friendships or marriage or anything else. So it's a really lovely blend of Neptune and Saturn for you in the seventh house, where you can have this dreamy, unconditional love and energy at the core of these partnerships. But there's a practical, very grounded, how are we going to operate in the daily lives? And it's having both of these that I think creates especially long lasting power, though Saturn on its own does that too. Saturn is going to retrograde back into Pisces in your sixth house, September until February of 2026. But aside from that, all the way until April of 2028, you have Saturn in your seventh house, which means that a lot of people that come into your life in the next 3 years could have a significant, long lasting connection. And that is a fun thing to look forward to. It's time to put energy into this part of your life, it's really going to pay off in the longevity of the relationships that you create, and they're going to have a functional and spiritual and an unconditional love bond to them, regardless of whether that's talked about, because I'm referring to the unconditional love that we have at the core of being an energetic being and being a soul and walking through these human meat suits, the meat costumes as they call them. But before all of that, before we decided all of these likes and dislikes, there's a unity, and that's what you are experiencing on a lot of levels. It is bound to change your beliefs. It is bound to allow you to have more fun, more joy, and more connection to yourself, because it is finding that spiritual and functional balance in a relationship that you want to hold on to yourself and figure out the merging too. There's definitely a lot to get into there, and I am not a relationship expert. So a wonderful time to lean on some of those experts in the world and fill your cup with all of that information. Thank you so much for being here, Libra. I would love to hear how this is going for you in the comments below. And if you would like to process more and learn about your personal chart with me over Zoom, check out my link in the description below for that. And have a wonderful seventh house transit. And I will see you next time.